So we knew this day was gonna come eventually, given how much we know about his health issues and other stuff that's been going on in his personal life. But it's still a shock to know that we just lost Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys. And this one definitely hits close to me because when it comes to my journey through music, I always talk about Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury is the number one. But I would definitely say at number two, it's got to be Brian Wilson. Just his songwriting, his production, and just his story, I just find extremely influential. And, the Beach Boys are often lumped as this novelty surf rock act that, you just play those songs in the summer, there's nothing deep about it. But if you really look between the lines and really dig deep, you will know just how well crafted those songs were. And it really comes down to Brian, how he arranged the music and how he arranged the vocal harmonies from the group. It was just a sound that is just iconic and just so unique to that no one was really like them. Um, Even as far back as their first album, it's very primitive sounding, but still you hear the essence and what's to come, and eventually it would all come to when you get to Surfer Girl, where you have the title track, which where this is where Brian was really starting to get into the production side, and you can tell there's something different about it. And it has of course the album also has In My Room, which has kind of become like an anthem to all introverts around the world, especially me, given how I'm always in my bedroom all the time, and this has always been my safe haven. So In My Room has always been that song for me. And then as it goes on into the 60s, he gets more confident with his style. Of course, he was very influenced from Phil Spector, and you hear that, especially when you get to the Christmas album, which is basically his kind of response to Phil Spector's Christmas album. But then you get to today, and absolutely marvelous album is one of my favorites, probably my second favorite, maybe third. It's very up high, but even though he doesn't write a lot of the lyrics, of course he co-writes this with Mike Love, and then very much later we'll talk about Tony Asher. Um, but still, his production style is all over this, and it's just absolutely remarkable album. And all this would pay off when we get to this album, which is very weird how I literally just bought this. And another thing, I don't know if I mentioned this already, it's also very weird how it's almost summer and we haven't lost a Beach Boy. Um, but going back to this has always been one of the most important albums to me. I love this album. I adore it. It just kind of came at a point where I kind of needed to hear it, especially tracks like, probably the song that really spoke to me the most in high school was I Just Wasn't Made for These Times, because like Brian Wilson, I didn't know where I fit in the world. I kind of felt lost. But this album really helped me get out of that. And I was so obsessed, I would really listen to the session tapes, just hearing how Brian was kind of arranging and kind of directing the Wrecking Crew. And that was something I took influence when I directed my one act play in high school. Even though the play was a disaster, the final thing at least, but the whole um, journey and just how I was trying to direct the crew, the cast, was very much inspired to how Brian directed or produced The Wrecking Crew. And so, again, this album has always had a very near and dear place in my heart. So I'll always go back to that. But we all know the story. After Pet Sounds, it kind of went astray. Brian was had some drug problems, and then eventually leads to mental health issues, which he would struggle with pretty much most of his life afterward. And then you got the whole Eugene Landy situation, which I'm not going to get into. And then his contributions to the Beach Boys started to get very sporadic. He would throw in a song here and there. Sometimes they'll take a song from the Smile sessions, and even up to their final album, he was always kind of in and out, so to speak. But his presence was always you always kind of felt his presence was there when when he was there, actually. And it's just he just had that sort of charm, and especially when you watch like old interviews of him, just how he has this very childlike wonder about him, which is something you just can't help but kind of get lost in as well. And is absolutely, it's always been he's always been one of those interesting figures that you kind of always kind of root for. And he definitely had like an underdog sort of thing about him where you didn't really think much of him at first, but then you kind of see just what has he look what he's created. And it's just something that is just an awe. And it's good to know that, they're starting to get Brian Wilson, and even a lot of the Beach Boys stuff is getting a lot more recognition for what work they are, because at the end of the day, Brian Wilson was a genius through and through. It gets thrown out, the whole genius thing, but to me, he's definitely one of them. Definitely one of mine. And so I just want to make this quick video to kind of pay my tributes to Brian Wilson and kind of talk about why he's important to me. But hopefully, for those watching this, I know I'm a lot younger. I know there's a lot of older people who have stuck with the Beach Boys longer than I have. But of course, in the comments, go ahead and just talk about your favorite song from Brian, your favorite song that he produced, or just what are your favorite moments from him. And until then, I'll see you next time. And make sure you listen to the Beach Boys, and also make sure you watch the movie Love and Mercy. Gorgeous, wonderful film about Brian. But there you go. That's it. Goodbye for now.